All right, it's time to talk about it. When we last left off talking about the New England Patriots, the future of the franchise was definitely up in the air. Our longtime head coach of 20 years, Bill Belichick, would no longer be the head coach moving into the 2024 season. Also, no longer the general manager. They have parted ways with Bill Belichick entirely. Coming in, new head coach, former New England Patriots linebacker Gerard Mayo, and de facto general manager Elliott Wolf. Most people, myself included, are still very cautious, but me, I'm actually getting very optimistic about what Gerard Mayo and Elliott Wolf have done with this roster in the last few months. So let's talk about it. First things first, this free agency class that the Patriots have conjured up is seriously underrated. The star power that they were going to lose in free agency, and Mike Onwenu and Kyle Duggar being the two biggest free agents, guess what? They retained all of their star talent in the free agency class. Mike Onwenu, he got a multi-year contract. Kyle Duggar got a multi-year contract. Both of those guys are on both sides of the ball, respectively. They're two of your biggest guys. Kyle Duggar, I think, is one of the most underrated safeties in the league. Definitely one of the most underrated box safeties in the league. Very good at run support. And Mike Onwenu was the best right tackle in free agency. So he could have gone anywhere else, and he probably could have gotten paid more. But he stayed in New England, along with Duggar, respectively. Christian Barmore, another big key piece on that defense, had a breakout year last year. Hey, let's sign him like a 3-year extension. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense, and I absolutely love it. Not even about like retaining the talent that they retained over the free agency period. It's also the guys that they brought in. I really like the idea of Simone Takitaki and an already good linebacker core. He's going to more or less take that spot from Marco Wilson when Marco Wilson was with us last year. Went to the Arizona Cardinals, unfortunately, but I really like Takitaki. And when you're talking about our linebacker core being the way it is, and Fernie Jennings, another free agent that we retained, he's a multi-year deal, had a big year last year after Judon got hurt. Imagine what he's going to look like with Judon on the field. If he can keep it up, it's going to be great. You throw in Jelani Tavai, Jawan Bentley, Josh Uche, who's on a 1-year prove it deal, but I still see a lot of upside in Josh Uche, so I'm happy to have him back for at least one more time to see if he can really step into a bigger role. The offense just looks completely different than what it did last year. Mac Jones, see ya, buddy. You're off to Jacksonville. We're sending you home. We're gonna bring in Jacoby Brissett, who, for a veteran quarterback, going off the game plan that the Patriots kind of laid forth since then with the draft, we'll get into it. Bringing Jacoby Brissett in, who's going to be a great mentor quarterback. He was drafted by the Patriots. He played in New England for a little bit, and then he played under our new offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt when he was with the Cleveland Browns. Take a guy who both knows the culture of New England and the system that Van Pelt's probably wanting to bring in. That's a match made in heaven for a veteran quarterback. There's nobody else really out there that I would really like to see come in to teach the young guys because, well, now we have two rookie quarterbacks on top of Bailey Zappi, on top of Jacoby Brissett. That equals four, and one of them is definitely going to be on the cutting room table come preseason, and it's probably if I think it's probably going to be Bailey Zappi. He just feels like the odd man out at this point. So, speaking of quarterbacks, let's talk about this draft class that the Patriots have conjured up. New England fans, you know as well as I do, like this draft class is so different than what you're used to seeing from the Patriots. We had the third overall pick, and I had the fear, and I'm sure many others did, that we were going to trade down from that third overall pick. A lot of different opinions as to what that third overall pick should have spelled out for the Patriots. A lot of people said Marvin Harrison Jr. A lot of people said Joe Alt, which still makes sense because I still don't think that we have a starting caliber blindside tackle. So that's a really big hole to fill. However, the big one was that we were going to trade down and try to get J.J. McCarthy in the first round. And after 3 years with Mac Jones, I was something about having a national champion quarterback come in. Just I didn't like it. I didn't like the J.J. McCarthy idea for New England, especially if they were going to pick him at 3. They didn't. They picked Drake May at third overall, and he's young and he's raw. but the ceiling is there. You give this guy time. I think he's going to ball out whenever he does finally get that starting job, which might be sooner than people are expecting. Either way, Drake May is gonna like that's excitement in the New England world. What do you do whenever you get a rookie quarterback third overall? You go get the guy weapons. Second round, the Patriots do trade down in the second round, just a couple spots. I thought they were going to take Ladd McConkey here. Nope. They trade down for an extra fifth round pick. Got Jalen Polk, which solid receiver. Looking at his tape, a lot of comparisons to Jacoby Myers. Really good route runner. Not a speedster guy, but the dude's got great hands. Can really make those 50-50 balls. Physical receiver. Love seeing that. Love seeing scrappy play from guys who can catch it over the middle, and Drake May's is really talented at throwing over the middle. So getting a guy like Jalen Polk really makes sense, and I'm really happy to see what he's been doing in minicamp. He's really stepped in. He's looking really, really good. It's not the only wide receiver we got, but we'll get into that in a progressively. They also doubled down on O-line. They got both a tackle and a guard in Layden Robinson and Caden Wallace. Caden Wallace played right tackle in college, and rumor has it that they're trying to transition him to left tackle. Going off of what I know in the NFL, that is a very hard transition, especially if you didn't play left tackle in college. It's going to be really interesting. I don't know why they didn't go with a starting left tackle, especially because in the second round there were still some decent ones on the board whenever they came around to pick. I don't know. It was over my head, but they know more than I do. So, Caden Wallace and Layden Robinson, welcome to the team. Layden Robinson looks like an absolutely steal from when we got him. And when you're talking about guards, I think City Sal on our offensive line is like he's going to be fine. He looked really good last year as a rookie. Give him a little bit more time. He's going to get better. The other guard, Cole Strange, that's one that I'm kind of leery about. He stays hurt when he's on the field. He doesn't look the part. I really don't know what they saw in him to be a first-round pick in 2022, but that's always been a lingering question ever since he did get drafted. So, I digress. To make it even better, doubling down on wide receiver, we didn't only get Jalen Polk, we got the second coming of Jesus himself, Javon Baker, because Javon Baker can apparently heal the crippled. The man's going to make people in wheelchairs stand up. I got my popcorn lined up and loaded. I can't wait to see what this guy's going to bring to the field. I love the energy. I love the excitement. And I hope and pray come preseason and when the season actually starts that you really do have the same energy and that you're not just coming onto the field and ducking your head. I absolutely love it. Then, I didn't even mention him in free agency. We got KJ Osborne, which I really like the idea of KJ Osborne. But Shelby, I hear you say, we wanted Calvin Ridley because Calvin Ridley was a true number one wide receiver. He's been a number one wide receiver since he was drafted by the Falcons. I hear you. However, Calvin Ridley is also 29 years old at this point. He missed a year of playing time due to gambling violations, which he's looked good since he's come back. But I also don't see the point in paying extra for a 29, 30-year-old wide receiver, especially when we got KJ Osborne coming into his fourth year in the NFL. Yes, he was a wide receiver 2 and a wide receiver 3 in the Minnesota Vikings, but you also have to look at the guys that he had above him. Justin Jefferson, the highest paid non-quarterback player in the NFL, and well-deserved. And then last year, they went and drafted Jordan Addison, who came in and blew up as a really good wide receiver too. Justin Jefferson got hurt. Addison stepped into that wide receiver 1 spot. KJ Osborne went up to the wide receiver 2 again. I think that there's a lot of potential for KJ Osborne to do something when he's not under the greatest wide receiver in the league right now and a very hot rookie coming off, or a very hot receiver coming off a really stellar rookie season. So you got 3 really good wide receivers there that I just listed off. KJ Osborne coming from the Vikings, and then Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, who looked really good in college, have really excited the franchise and the fans coming into minicamp and OTAs, and really can't wait to see what these 2 young kids are going to be able to bring to this wide receiver room, which our wide receiver room's a little loaded right now. We have, I think, in total 9 wide receivers, and I think I can maybe count two that are I would already say they're on the cutting room floor. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, is one. Like at this point, I kind of rather see us eat the cap and cut him. I mean, he is an older wide receiver and he's a mentor and et cetera, et cetera. But I think looking at talent wise, I just feel like he's the odd man. Another one, and I really hate to say this because I've been rooting for him ever since we drafted him in 2022. Tyquan Thornton is speedy guy, really, really fast. Can't run a route to save his life some days though. There were some games last year where he would go to run a route and forget the route that he would run. He'd bump into guys on the field all the time, and you can't have that in the NFL. So if he can sharpen it up under this new regime, great. If not, then I don't really think we're at cutting too much. And then we got that other quarterback in the draft, Joe Milton, who just looks like a monster. Uh, I mean, the guy stands 6'3", 6'4", and he's faster than Drake May. He's got arguably one of the strongest arms that you'll see in the NFL right now. The dude could fling that ball 80 yards down the field with a flick of the wrist. Really exciting to see. The only problem with Joe Milton is that he doesn't have that ability to really reel that arm back. He can throw that 80-yard pass, but trying to see him throw a 10-yard slant has not been pretty. I'm not saying that Milton couldn't fix it. I'm saying that compared as of right now, I think Drake May's the better passer, but Joe Milton has a better arm, if that makes any sense. One can throw the ball farther, one's more consistent with his passes. And then to top off this draft class, talking to my co-host Nick, who y'all seen plenty of, I think that this guy had the potential to go as early as the 4th round, and we got him in the 7th. Uh, every mock draft that I had him going to the Patriots anywhere between like the 4th, the 5th, no later than the 6th. The fact that we got Jaheim Bell from Florida State in the 7th round, I think that might be the steal of the draft. Oh, but he's not a good tight end because he can't block. Well, Travis Kelce can't block for shit either, and he's one of the best tight ends in the league right now. I think that you take a guy like Jaheim Bell, who in his time at Florida State, you could move this guy all around the field. You could throw him out wide. You can put him on the line. You can put him in the backfield at running back or fullback, and the guy's going to produce something from wherever you line him up at. He might not be the best blocker, but when you're talking about a team who's had such a horrendous red zone offense for the last 2-3 years, bringing a guy like this who can be such a major red zone threat, absolutely, I'm all here for it. I think this guy's going to be the next great tight end in the league. I might be getting really excited about that, but just hear me out. There's a number of tight ends in the league right now that... And then I kind of forgot to mention, we did make one defensive pick in the draft class, Marcellus Dial, who looks like a really good developmental depth piece, really good zone coverage cornerback, in an already really good underrated secondary. I think it's a really good pick too. Going back to Jaheim Bell, go and look at some of the tape that this kid has. He's fast. He's got great hands. He can run people over. This is a kind of athlete that you bring into a team that just doesn't have playmakers. This guy's going to be a playmaker if you give him a chance. Look at him in minicamp. Look at him in OTAs. He is making some really, really great catches from these rookie quarterbacks. It's really exciting time to be a Patriots fan, guys. A lot of people are saying, oh, potential like the first 0-17 team in the NFL. I don't see it. I see so much young potential. Just give it time. It's a good time to be a Patriots fan, guys. Anyway, that's all the time I got for this one. I will see y'all in the next one.